So if they don't make it out of the group, does Berhalter go?
Yeah, that's the last thing we want to talk about. I think so. I think it's on. Even though this game wasn't
His fault.
on him, it isn't. It
It's
wasn't.
not.
I'm not a
It's
fan
not.
of his, but it's not his fault.
No,
But
but he needs to win the next game though too, because you want to compete at the high level, right? So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you made yourself in a tight, not him, but the team put themselves in a little tight situation.
dug themselves in a hole. Yeah.
Now rise to the occasion of beating a top 10 team in the world.
Yeah, that's 100% what has to happen, because it's the Gregg Berhalter's job doesn't depend on one game. It's on like the entirety of this. So if they get kicked out of the tournament, he's gonna have to go. It's because it's like the entirety of everything, not just like this one game. This one game isn't great, but it's not gonna depend on just this one game. It's gonna depend on the rest
Also,
of
the friendlies that he played before too.
everything. Yeah, it's like a whole compilation of like everything. This is Hermanos FC, and this is the post-match reaction to the USA Panama game with my little brother, the other half of the Hermanos FC universe. And real quick, dude, we lost that pretty. Initial reactions of the game. Well, let me go to the stats. Let me do the stats first.
Okay.
We lost 2-1. It was the goal scorers for the United States were Balogun, and the goal scorers for Panama were Cesar Blackman and Jose Farado, however you pronounce that. Now, the second goal was in the 83rd. It was pretty much a dagger through the heart at that point after a 10-man down game that Timothy Weah.
Yeah, almost a 70-minute kind of defensive. I can't even say that because they did attack. I mean, let's break down that, right? At the 18th minute, he shoves him in the back of the head, so he's gone.
Yeah.
However, they score in the 22nd minute, so 4 minutes go by, they score. Great goal, too. Fantastic goal. Then you kind of need to tighten up back there, you know? You're like, yo, we got this goal off, which, it's when you're 10 men down, it's kind of hard. It's extremely hard. You need to tighten up back there. Close the lanes, all that stuff like that. Let them deliver wide. They're not going to beat you in the air, or hopefully they're not. And then 4 minutes later, a shot between the legs of Richards, and Matt Turner was, a little late catching to the post, or sliding to his sliding to his right. That's honestly, that's unacceptable. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, the USA team, because they look good. They're starting to play better, right? They're starting to connect better. Obviously, a momentary lapse in Weah, it happens. But you score. You did, what you were supposed to do. Now sit back and defend. Whether that meant after they scored, they put in another defender to sit out, right out the half, whatever it needed to be, right? Drop back, make that a 5-line defense, and then go into halftime, regroup, make the subs you need to do, ride out another 45 minutes, and you come out at the very minimum a tie, right? Now you're going to have to wait on Uruguay to, lose against Bolivia. Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. As of this recording, they're playing
right now,
and Uruguay is winning 1-0 as of this recording.
Shocker. And then then USA got to beat Uruguay. It's a must win too, because then you can't count on Bolivia beating Panama at this moment. You can't do that. Which, if I'm being honest, that was like one game I had the USA losing and going out number 2 in the group
against Uruguay.
Right.
Okay, so let's just kind of reframe, because I was talking to you while we were watching the game. Well, I guess we're both not Gregg Berhalter fans, but this is not on him, I believe.
No.
Do you feel like he made the right changes that he needed to make, and that he put the team in a position to be better? Because there is this thing where it took out Balogun, I think, maybe a little too early, and didn't put Musa in.
But
this is something that Clint Dempsey had mentioned.
That's my one debate on that sub and change. Obviously, we're not there to see how they practice and all that stuff like that. But I've seen Musa play an AC with Pulisic. Musa should have been in. I get it that he can't start. That's a tough lineup to get into. You have Gio, Tyler Adams, and McKinney. That's tough to get in there, right? But he should be an immediate come on once one of them gets subbed. I felt like he would have brought you more control. He's tougher, he's physical, he's faster, and he can fight off in those last defensive minutes that you needed to clear stuff away. Balogun still looked good. Ricardo Pepe's finishing hasn't been looking great, right? He even had a chance over there, and he was backpedaling. And I think in moments like that, you either recenter it to Pulisic, and maybe the defender cuts off the pass or whatever, but you basically just gave it away to the goalie.
The header that he had.
Yeah, that's
he had an
moments
opportunity to tie the game.
He's backpedaling, and he had a header. That's like beyond difficult to generate power on that, and it wasn't going to happen. So, maybe recenter it across the Pulisic. Maybe the defender cuts it off. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he misses it. I don't know. But
not what he did.
Not what he did. Oh, or at least maybe I don't know. He doesn't do it for me. At least at the moment because Balogun was playing so much better.
Sure.
And you're right. So he had more in the tank to give.
So the thing is too that I also mentioned was that it's not on Berhalter's fault. Is this squarely lie on Weah's fault because of this performance?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, yes. And I like Weah. I think he's fantastic. But in this day and age with VAR, right, they look at everything. And yeah, the player sold it a lot more, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting shoved in the back of the head, so roll around, do whatever. It's
part of the game.
It's part of the game. I don't like the flopping thing lately. I think they should be carded, but he got shoved, so eat it up, right?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is too that at the 88th minute, Panama got a red card, got a red card, so it became evenly matched. The crazy thing is that the ref didn't give as much time as I thought that he should have. But how did you feel about the reffing in this game, though? I think he was not in control of the game. It was way off.
No, yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. There was times where when you're reffing, right, you gotta be both sides. And like simple slide tackles, like the one that Anton Robinson did, he got a direct yellow. But then sometimes when Panama, and it went both ways too. Sometimes
Panama didn't get in trouble when that crash with Matt Turner. Nothing happened.
Sure, but then there was also other fouls that USA players should have got a yellow on, and they didn't. And then there were some plays from Panama that they got yellows that they shouldn't have. It should, like, you know what I mean? It was like, I'm not going to blame it on the ref because it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the times he gave yellows, they should have been for other fouls, not the ones he did. And it goes for both teams.
So he just didn't have, he didn't have control of the game. I don't think it went off the rails too much, but I don't think it did because like the red cards, for example, were earned. I don't think it was like, it wasn't stuff that's like, oh man, like that's like tough for a soft red or whatever the case may be. I think everything was earned in terms of the game, and the U.S. really shot themselves in the foot with this because you're right. Like now the game coming up Uruguay scored, so it's 2-0 now. So here's the thing I said though, that if Uruguay wins today, they're through. So do they come in on this third game with the softer side, resting their star players, gives the United States a better opportunity to play? We don't know. I mean, it's like not a spoken thing that they're not going to come in as, you never want to say that opponent's going to come in and not play. But the truth of the matter is that this is a tournament, and the coaches knowingly will not put their stars on just because. So for example, in the Euros just now, when Portugal played, they didn't put their stars on for this last game and they lost. But they gave Georgia a chance to move on to the next round and stuff like that. So the only comparison here is that the same thing happens with Uruguay, where if they win today comfortably, which it seems like they are, it's only the 20-something minute, they're already 2 up. They come into the third game. Now, do they want to get first place because they might fight a...
Yeah, but see, the tough part about this too now is that, okay, so Panama have 3 points, USA have 3 points. USA beat Uruguay, Panama beat Bolivia. That's what we're expecting here. So they're going to be tied on points. That's 6-6. And you're going to go to goal difference. And let's say USA beat Uruguay, right? Because they'll put in the bench, whatever. rest their stars, which I'm kind of expecting them to do. USA's not going to beat them 3-zip, 4-zip either, right? And Panama's very capable of beating a Bolivia side right now that don't look great. 3-4-0. Let's see what Uruguay does to them, destroys them. I don't see. And even Uruguay's backup team, they're they're good.
Okay, so
They have a bench, is what I'm trying to say too.
yeah. So look, in terms of our final kind of reactions to this, really disappointing because at least in the beginning of this game to really have a foothold on it, even towards the end, even with 10 men down, it felt like at any moment they would have tied. They look like a lot stronger team, but it's just kind of like a lapse of inexperience and really losing your head at the worst time possible to give your team such a huge disadvantage.
Correct.
Now they're coming on. They're going to have to win against a super hard team, which, I mean, is kind of part and parcel to what this tournament is. I mean, if you can't play against the best and win, I mean, you're probably going to get eliminated at some point. It's just going to be a lot quicker now.
Yep.
I thought that they were going to get out of the group, but I really feel like they might not now. I really feel like they might not get out of the group, and the only team that's going to get out of the group is Canada. I mean, out of the CONCACAF teams, all these other teams, if it wasn't for this game,
so if they don't make it out of the group, does Berhalter go?
Yeah, that's the last thing we want to talk about. I think so. I think it's on. Even though this game wasn't
His fault
on him. It isn't. It wasn't. I'm not a fan of his, but it's not his fault.
No,
but
he needs to win the next game though too, because you want to compete at the high level, right? So you're like, okay, well, you made yourself in a tight. Not him, but the team put themselves in a little tight situation.
Dug themselves in a hole. Yeah.
Now rise to the occasion of beating a top 10 team in the world.
Yeah, that's 100% what has to happen, because it's the Gregg Berhalter's job doesn't depend on one game. It's on like the entirety of this. So if they get kicked out of the tournament, he's gonna have to go. It's because it's like the entirety of everything, not just like this one game. This one game isn't great, but it's not going to depend on just this one game. It's going to depend on the rest
also
of
the friendlies that he played before too.
Everything. Yeah, it's like a whole compilation of like everything. Really disappointing. It sucks. It's going to be a huge mountain to climb, but this is going to show what kind of team they are. If they can pull something off, this team is a lot tougher than when people give it credit. And I think they can. I mean, I really think if they really put it together, I think they really can. It's going to be fucking impossible. But
let's see who else they put in, because Weah misses the next game too, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe you put in a Ricardo Pepi with Balogun and Pulisic, or put in a Musa. I don't know. There's things you can move around.
It really it depends on what. See, that this depends on what Berhalter does.
And maybe the team looks good, be even better. You never know. Hopefully they can pull it off though, because that's gonna really piss me off.
Yeah, it's gonna suck, but we'll see. Well, that's it for our quick take on this game. Join us again for the next one for more of this Copa America tournament, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Later, guys.
Bye, everybody. Suck at that. All right.